The late afternoon sun dipped low over the rolling hills of Napa Valley, painting the vineyards in shades of gold and crimson. Elena Hargrove stepped out of her black town car, her designer heels sinking slightly into the gravel driveway of Hargrove Winery's flagship estate. At 32, she was the youngest CEO in the California wine industry's history, having inherited the empire from her father 5 years ago and tripled its value through relentless expansion. But today, she wasn't here for a photo op or a tasting event. She was here because the numbers didn't add up. For weeks, Elena had been poring over financial reports in her glass-walled office in San Francisco. Profits were stellar, but something gnawed at her: discrepancies in payroll and staffing at the vineyards, phantom employees, inflated budgets, and one name that kept appearing in the overtime logs: Ryan Caldwell, foreman of Vineyard Block 7. His hours were obscene, 80, 90 a week, while mid-level managers claimed shortages. Elena had flown in unannounced, determined to see the truth for herself. She walked the rows of Cabernet vines, the air thick with the scent of ripening grapes. Workers nodded politely, but their eyes held exhaustion. In the distance, she spotted him, tall, broad-shouldered, sleeves rolled up on his faded flannel shirt, directing a team during harvest prep. Ryan Caldwell. Even from afar, he moved with quiet authority, the kind earned through years of hard labor. Elena approached as the crew broke for water. "Mr. Caldwell?" He turned, wiping sweat from his brow with the back of his hand. Up close, he was ruggedly handsome, dark hair tousled, jaw shadowed with stubble, hazel eyes sharp and wary. "Yes, ma'am. Can I help you?" "I'm Elena Hargrove, CEO." His expression didn't change, but she saw the flicker of surprise. "Miss Hargrove, didn't know you were coming out today." "I like surprises." She glanced at the vines. "Mind showing me around?" Ryan hesitated, then nodded. "Sure, this way." As they walked, Elena asked questions about yields, soil conditions, pest management. Ryan answered straightforwardly, his voice deep and steady. He knew this land intimately, pointing out subtle differences in grape clusters that corporate reports glossed over. But beneath his professionalism, Elena sensed fatigue, deep lines around his eyes, the way his shoulders carried invisible weight. They ended at his modest cottage on the edge of the property, a company perk for the foreman, though it looked more like a bachelor's crash pad than a home. A swing set sat unused in the yard, toys scattered on the porch. "Your family lives here with you?" Elena asked. Ryan's jaw tightened. "Just me and my daughter, Mia. She's 6, with the sitter today." Single dad. That explained the exhaustion. Elena filed it away. "Mind if I come in for a glass of water? Long drive." He paused, clearly uncomfortable, but politeness won. "Of course." Inside, the cottage was clean but lived in. Dishes in the sink from breakfast, crayons on the kitchen table, a half-finished puzzle. Ryan poured her water from a pitcher, apologizing for the mess. "No need," Elena said, taking the glass. "It's homey." He let out a short laugh, fancy word for chaotic. As Ryan turned to rinse a mug, Elena's eyes landed on an open folder on the counter: pay stubs, medical bills, a school newsletter about parent-teacher conferences. One stub showed his salary, decent for a foreman, but not for the hours he logged. Another paper caught her eye, a performance review signed by Regional Manager Victor Lang, rating Ryan adequate, with notes about frequent errors and resistance to overtime. Elena's blood ran cold. She'd seen Victor's reports, glowing, claiming Block 7 was understaffed, justifying budget requests for 3 additional workers who, according to payroll, existed but never showed up. "Mr. Caldwell, Ryan, can I ask you something personal?" He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Depends." "How long have you been pulling these hours?" 2 years, give or take, since Victor took over regional. "And promotions? Raises?" Ryan's eyes darkened. "Applied 3 times for assistant manager, always passed over. Victor says I'm not leadership material." Elena set down her glass. "Ryan, I need you to be honest with me. Are there really staffing shortages out here? He met her gaze steadily. No, ma'am. Victor's been shorting us hires, pocketing the difference. I've covered the work myself because the vines don't wait. Harvest doesn't care if you're tired. Her stomach twisted. And your performance reviews? Falsified. My error rate's near zero. Victor knows it. Keeps me stuck, so I keep doing the work of 4 men. Elena felt the ground shift. Beneath her, this wasn't a glitch, it was systemic rot, and she'd been too focused on board meetings and acquisitions to notice. "Why didn't you report it?" she asked quietly. Anonymous hotline goes to HR, who reports to Victor. And with Mia, his voice roughened, can't risk losing this job. Cottage comes with it, health insurance. Elena looked around the kitchen, the stacked bills, the child's drawings taped to the fridge. One showed a stick-figure family, daddy, little girl, and a woman with angel wings. Mommy in heaven. "I'm sorry," she said, the words inadequate. Ryan shrugged. "Not your fault. You're up in the city. We're just the boots on the ground." But it was her fault. She'd built walls around herself after her father's death, convinced that distance equaled strength, numbers over people, profit over lives. "Ryan, I need to dig deeper, but I promise this stops now." He studied her face, skepticism warring with hope. "With all due respect, Miss Hargrove, executives say a lot of things." "Fair." Elena picked up a dish towel. "Mind if I help with these while I think?" Ryan blinked. "You want to wash dishes? Least I can do after invading your home." He watched as she rolled up her silk sleeves and started on the breakfast plates. The CEO of Hargrove Wineries washing dishes in a foreman's cottage. It was absurd, but as warm water ran over her hands, something loosened in Elena's chest. This was real, human. They worked in silence until Ryan spoke. "Mia's mom, car accident 3 years ago. Been just us since. I'm sorry. She asks why Daddy's always tired. I tell her the grapes need extra love." He smiled faintly. "She's starting to not believe me." Elena's heart ached. "You deserve better. So do a lot of folks out here." That night, back in her hotel, Elena worked furiously. Emails to auditors, demands for records. By morning, she had proof Victor had skimmed over $300,000 in ghost salaries across 3 vineyards. Performance reviews doctored to keep star employees like Ryan trapped. She fired Victor on the spot via video call, his denials crumbling under evidence. Then she drove back to the cottage. Ryan opened the door, surprise etching his features. "Miss Hargrove? I owe you more than words." She held up a folder. "Victor's gone, audits expanding, and this," she handed him paperwork, "promotion to operations director, 50% raise, standard hours, full benefits, back pay for the overtime you should have been compensated properly for." Ryan stared at the papers. "Just like that?" "Not just like that. You earned it years ago. I'm correcting a wrong." He looked up, eyes searching hers. "Why come yourself? HR could have handled this." "Because I needed to see you, to say I'm sorry for the system I let fester." Elena glanced at the swing set. "And because your daughter deserves her father home for dinner." Ryan's throat worked. "This is a lot. Take time to think." But Mia chose that moment to come running from the sitter's car next door. "Daddy, who's that?" Elena knelt instinctively. "Hi, sweetheart. I'm Elena. I work with your daddy." Mia studied her with solemn blue eyes. "You're pretty, like a princess." Elena laughed, startled. "Thank you. You're very pretty, too. Daddy says princesses live in castles. Do you?" "Something like that." Mia tugged Ryan's hand. "Can Elena stay for mac and cheese?" Ryan met Elena's eyes, a question there. She nodded. Mac and cheese from a box, eaten at a tiny table with crayon placemats. Mia chattered about school, showing Elena her latest drawing, butterflies because they're free and happy. After Mia's bath, which Elena helped with, earning giggles when she made shampoo mohawks, Ryan tucked his daughter in. Elena waited on the porch swing, the valley quiet around them. "She's incredible," Elena said when Ryan joined her. "She's everything." He sat beside her, leaving space. "This promotion, it's real? Already processed. You start Monday." Ryan exhaled slowly. 2 years of thinking I wasn't good enough, of missing her school plays, bedtime stories. "I know," Elena's voice caught. "I don't have kids, never had time. My life's been boardrooms and balance sheets. But seeing you with Mia, it makes me realize what I've missed." Ryan turned to her. "Why do you work so hard?" "To prove I could run my father's empire better than anyone expected, a woman in this industry." She shrugged. "But somewhere along the way, I stopped living." They sat in silence, crickets chirping. Then Ryan asked, "You ever just sit and watch the stars out here?" "No." He stood, offering his hand. "Come on." They walked to a hill overlooking the vineyards. Ryan spread a blanket from his truck and they lay back, the Milky Way sprawling above. "Beautiful," Elena whispered. "Yeah." But he was looking at her. Over the next weeks, changes swept the winery. Victor's allies were removed, anonymous reporting channels established, performance reviews overhauled with independent oversight. Elena spent more time in the valley than San Francisco, working alongside Ryan to implement reforms. Late nights in the cottage became routine, strategy sessions over coffee, Mia often joining with her endless questions. Elena learned to braid hair, badly, make pancake shapes, worse, and the difference between regular butterflies and magic ones that granted wishes. One evening, after Mia was asleep, Ryan found Elena at the kitchen sink again, this time washing harvest-stained glasses. "You don't have to keep doing that," he said softly. "I like it," she smiled over her shoulder. "Makes me feel useful." Ryan stepped closer. "You've done more than enough." "Not yet," she turned, drying her hands. "Ryan, that first day, I came here angry about numbers. I left heartbroken about people, about you." His eyes darkened. "Elena, I know it's complicated. Boss, employee, ex-employee, technically. You're my partner now." The word hung between them. Partner. Ryan reached out, tucking a strand of hair behind her ear. "I've been alone a long time, scared to let anyone in. Mia's all I need, but you make us better, happier." He leaned in, forehead resting against hers. "I don't know how to do this." "Me neither." Elena's hands settled on his chest. "But I want to try." Their first kiss was tentative, tasting of possibility. When they parted, Ryan whispered, "Stay tonight?" She did, on the couch, fully clothed, talking until dawn about dreams and fears. Months passed in a blur of harvest season and healing. Ryan thrived in his new role, implementing sustainable practices he'd always wanted. Elena delegated more in San Francisco, finding balance she'd never known. The real magic happened at home. Sunday picnics among the vines, Mia teaching Elena to ride a bike with training wheels to everyone's amusement. Evenings on the porch swing, Ryan's arm around Elena as Mia read them stories. One crisp fall day, during a quiet moment in the cottage kitchen, Mia tugged Elena's sleeve. "Elena?" "Yes, sweetie?" "Are you going to be my new mommy?" Elena's heart stopped. Ryan froze in the doorway. Mia continued, "Because you make Daddy smile like he used to in pictures with old Mommy, and you make good grilled cheese now." Elena knelt, eyes misty. "Mia, I love being part of your family. Families come in all shapes but I want you forever." Mia's lower lip trembled. Ryan crossed the room, lifting Mia into his arms. "Baby girl, Elena and I." Elena stood, taking Mia's hand. "Sweetheart, there's nothing I want more than to be your mommy, if that's okay with your daddy." Ryan's eyes met hers, shining. More than okay. He set Mia down and pulled a small box from his pocket, a ring purchased weeks ago, waiting for courage. Simple white gold with a vine motif. "Elena Hargrove, you've turned my world upside down in the best way. You've given me back hope, given Mia a family again. Will you marry us?" Tears streamed down Elena's face as she nodded. "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Mia squealed, throwing her arms around both of them. The wedding was small, Among the vines at sunset, workers who'd become friends in attendance. Elena wore a simple lace dress, Mia scattered flower petals with solemn importance. Ryan's vows brought tears, promises to cherish, to balance work and life, to build together. That night in their cottage, now truly theirs, deed transferred as a wedding gift, Elena and Ryan lay tangled in sheets, Mia asleep down the hall. "I never knew this existed," Elena whispered against his chest. "This fullness." Ryan kissed her temple. "Empire of second chances." She laughed softly. "Cheesy." "True." He traced the ring on her finger. "We earned it." Outside, butterflies danced in moonlight over the vineyard, magic ones, granting the best wish of all, a family, imperfect and real, built on honesty and love. Years later, Hargrove Wineries was renowned not just for award-winning Cabernet, but for its employee-first culture. Elena and Ryan led side by side, with Mia growing tall and fierce, dreaming of one day running the vines herself. Sometimes, on quiet evenings, they'd sit on that same hill, watching stars. "Remember when I showed up unannounced?" Elena teased. Ryan grinned. "Best invasion ever." And in the distance, the grapes ripened under careful hands, proof that when people matter more than profit, everything thrives.